What's up, YouTube? Update as far as progress goes. Still messing around with the bike here. Everything seems to be running okay. Once again, I'm operating without an air box. I put probably, it looks like I got 40 miles on this thing since I started counting it. So I'm really trying not to put too many miles without some kind of air filtration device here. That's bad for it. Since I filled up the battery with water, I let it sit with the charger overnight. It's better. Um, it's starting self-sufficient, but what I'm noticing is that it's somewhere around, like according to my meter, it's somewhere around like 12.5 volts, something like this. And then basically, I'm not sure if that's an accurate numerical representation of the battery, but I'm going to call it 12.5. And then I turn it on, use the starter, and then after that it's almost down to something like 10.5 volts. So that's at least where it was a few days ago. And it's interesting because if you turn, you put in the key and you start drawing some heavy amps on it, it'll actually start up for about 2 seconds, and you'll hear all 4 cylinders fire up. So at that point, it's almost like as soon as you start it, you got to give it some gas and let it rev for about 20 seconds or so. And then once, you've got that 20 seconds, then you're good to go. The only other option is if you miss that one shot, that one cycle, then you got to get an alternative, jump start to it and fire it up. I fixed the brake lights. It was just something as simple as the cables were getting corroded and then shook loose underneath that. Thinking about what I could do as far as quick and dirty for the little bezel. I was thinking about honestly just finding some paint and just painting that yellow for the moment here. Registration and insurance is still lacking on this thing, so I'm really not being smart by riding it around. Luckily, I won't name the department, but there's a local PD that actually cuts me some breaks on a few things because I know quite a few of them. So I'm just staying within my zone of safety, if you will, on that one. And haven't been pulled over, anything stupid like that. Haven't given anybody an excuse to pull me over. I'm a safe driver, just all by myself. I'm not talking about motorcycles specifically or anything. I just tend to use my signals a lot, give a lot of braking room, clear the car in front of me. I just pride myself on being a courteous driver. And I think if more people just drove like that, we'd have less accidents and less problems. I was getting shit from I was getting crap from the brakes. I don't know what it was. I think the gasket was not sealing correctly on this side. So I opened it up, poured more brake fluid in, pumped it a little bit, and then just pulled the gasket towards the edge to make sure it was seating on the edge. And seems okay from there. Everything's nice and tight. I'm not noticing any more brake fluid leaking or anything like that. That was really concerning to me. One thing I just want to mention to everybody is, it's never a bad idea before you take the thing out into traffic or anything like this to just, screw around with it and be like, alright, I'm feeling pressure on the brakes. I'm feeling pressure on the brakes. Just test out the stupid thing and just make sure that everything's working in your driveway before you attempt to go into traffic and then, have a problem with it. Because for some reason your brakes fail. The only thing that will slow you down at that point is, using the engine as an emergency brake, and good luck with that, problem. I'm liking the color, even though it's just a stupid rattle can. I'm getting some noise out of the fender. I don't know what it is, but I almost want to pull off the fender and take a look at it. It's almost like a light rattling noise. It only happens at low speed. Debating about painting those guys blue. Oh, here's a great story. This is the miracle of Craigslist, and when I say miracle of Craigslist, obviously there's absolutely no sarcasm in that statement. I'm looking online and I'm seeing somebody's posting FZR 600 for free. Not running, just as a parts bike. He wants it out of there. So, I immediately text him, hey, I want the bike. I even send a text message to this thing saying, hey, this is what I'm working on, I really want this bike. I'm sure 50 people are texting him, already saying, hey, I want it, and, maybe for legitimate purposes, maybe to just resell. I deem myself more legitimate purposes, as I just want the parts to fix up my motorcycle here. And, no judgment or anything like that, but it's a little bit more noble of a purpose, you want my opinion. So I don't know how that'll go. The problem is that I don't know if you guys have used Craigslist out there. I'm a big fan of it. As much as I love it, I hate it because the people on there tend to be the biggest flakes, fakes, and waste of time and everything in the world. And I could go on for about 20 minutes of the horrors of Craigslist and what doesn't make sense. I've sold firearms on there, and I've had people ask me to commit, felonies, and then, complained when I wouldn't assist them in committing felonies in regards to firearm sales. Just ridiculous crap like that. And then you tell them that it's illegal, and they'll debate you for 20 minutes that it isn't illegal, and that they're a security guard, they're a mall cop, so therefore those laws do not apply to them. It's just ridiculous stuff that just that comes out of people. And I can deal with low ballers, but just crazy stuff like that. So I don't know, I just thought that was an interesting thing to share. Headlights are working good, turn signals are working good. Still got to get an air box and track that down. Cash is tight right now, so I'm just kind of leaving the thing as is, but obviously that air box is not something that I need to neglect. So, in the ways of priority, need to get that air box going, and need to get registration, insurance, and all that stuff set up. And then think about something a little bit more permanent. I don't know, I've just got this thing kind of just rigged to the front. Not the safest way to go, but it works for the time being. Not noticing anything new to complain about the bike. The tire pressure, this is a scary one. The tire pressure was way off. And, I'm kicking the tires, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty firm, Quite honestly, this is dumb on my end, but I don't even recall even checking the pressure. I remember the rear tire was flat, and then I filled it up with Fix-A-Flat, and it was nice and firm just to the touch. And there's somewhere around like 15 psi or something like that. And then I checked, the manual on it. It's supposed to be like 45 psi. So that's news to me. I had no idea that motorcycle tire pressure was supposed to be that high, but apparently it was. So I put put more air in the tire, and I just seemed to get a lot more better traction out of it. Nothing new to complain about. It really seems like I drive it around until something breaks on it, or I notice something's wrong, and then work on that. The only thing I will say is that it gets warm when it's at a stoplight, it heats up. Nothing that I would deem dangerous to the engine. Since I flushed out the radiator, all those problems have gone away. Interestingly enough, it actually doesn't have a coolant reservoir, so when it boils over, I've just directed it to the ground away from the tire. That's really not the way to go. Even though there's worse things than coolant being spilled out onto the road, like older cars. A lot of older cars didn't have a coolant reservoir, so it overheated and wanted to shoot some water out, it would just go straight to the asphalt. And it's not like oil or anything like that. It's not slick. It's not a road hazard. It's the same, viscosity as tap water. But it's kind of wasteful, as in every time, it shoots out, I don't know, a 16th of a liter, something like that, it's just going to lose it, and then it's going to be up to the operator to top it off every now and then. Whatever. Coolant's cheap. Or, worse yet, I'll just rig like a little bottle back here, something like this to catch it. I think where it was actually right here. As I said before, this bike came incomplete. It had a lot of missing parts to it, and you know what, that's kind of what I like, is I'm enjoying that challenge of putting it back together. And I really am learning a lot about this thing. So, scrape a few bucks together here, get it registered, get the plates, the registration, the insurance and all that. The other thing is I really need a helmet, because I'm riding around with this, half helmet thing right here. And it was kind of fun when I was having that 200cc uh, homemade bike. It kind of fit the bike. On this, it just looks goofy to have a big black German half helmet thing going on. And not to mention, something to protect my face would be really nice. Because, you know, I'm just protecting my head, and not even a real good protection of the back of my head, to be honest with you guys. That and a motorcycle jacket would be nice. So I'm gonna be hunting down Craigslist for a nice used small helmet, small jacket. You know, I don't have a big stature. Um, this is really funny, but I'm wondering, what if I were to get just like a women's medium jacket or a women's large jacket? I'm not the most fashionable person when it comes to riding around. I mean, I like my jeans, I like my shoes, and you know, I got a nice polo shirt on right now that I like quite a bit. Whatever. I'm just rambling at this point, but just something just for safety purposes, you know, so I don't cut up my hands, cut up my arms, and all that. Oh yeah, when I ride around, I'm actually using batting gloves right here. These are nice and thick. They've got some vinyl on them that seem to protect my hands pretty well, and they breathe really nice. I have a good dexterity with them, which is I like. One thing I'm noticing is that my left hand is just cramping up so much. Oh, I do actually have one complaint about this thing. Just at stoplights, I don't know what it is, but she just really does not want to shift into neutral. Really does not. I mean, I'll go back and forth, skipping that gear like 2 or 3 times, and this is just at a stop. I don't know if it's maybe the RPMs are stopping it from getting into gear. Maybe because I have the idle set high, something like this. Who knows? But it's just like such a pain to get it into neutral at a stoplight. So my left hand is just cramping up from holding down on that guy. Um, who knows? Maybe somebody has an opinion on that one. Other than that, not too much to complain about. I really want those side fairings. Be looking around after a month or so. If I haven't found a reasonable pair, I'll look into something like, you know, Frankensteining one up or something like this. It's one of these parts that everybody wants because that's the first thing that gets smashed and scraped is the fairings, you know. I could really take or leave these guys right here, the side fairings. I don't know, might leave them on. I really built them up with primer to hide all the little imperfections and cleaned them off real good. I might see if somebody just wants to trade side fairings for back fairings or something like that. Who knows? I traded a homemade motorcycle for a motorcycle, so there's got to be something out there. That's about it for now. More videos to come in the future, but nothing new to report.